I never imagined my life becoming a cheap tabloid scandal. Funny how we build perfect plans, suburban bliss, Sunday barbecues, Friday wine, only to watch them crumble when reality strikes. My name is Bob Davies. I trusted my wife, Heather, and our two kids, Mike and Anna. I trusted my best friend, Josh. That trust, gone, shattered by secrets and motel sheets. But it didn't happen overnight. At first, I was blind. Then came the itch in my gut. One Tuesday night, I walked in expecting Heather to be folding laundry, reality TV playing. Instead, silence. In the kitchen, she whispered into her phone, her face flushed. "Hey," I said, eyeing her in the phone. "Everything okay?" She hung up like it burned her. "Just a work friend, some crisis." It was plausible. Heather loved playing Good Samaritan. But something in her eyes made my stomach twist. I wanted to believe it was nothing, but deep down I knew this was something bigger, something rotting beneath the surface. A few days later, I found the real smoking gun. I'd come home from the golf course, rummaging through the hamper for the sweaty clothes I'd left balled up. Instead, my hand closed around a pair of Heather's jeans. A rubber wrapper tumbled out. A freaking rubber wrapper. We never used them. Heather was on the pill. My heart did this crazy spasm like a drum roll before an execution. And just like that, I knew. No wild leaps of logic necessary. Even then, I wanted to find some other explanation, some kind of cosmic misunderstanding. But let's be honest, there isn't any other explanation for a used protection wrapper in your wife's pocket. I felt sick, so I stuffed the evidence back into the hamper and stumbled off to the bathroom. I remember staring into the mirror, eyes bright with shock. My reflection silently mocked me. Poor schmuck. That's when I made a promise to myself. If my wife was cheating, I wasn't going to be some spineless coward. I'd gather proof and confront her. I wouldn't just let it slide. Enter Josh Walters, my best friend since college, back when we lived on cheap ramen noodles and caffeine pills. He'd been the best man at my wedding, the clown who gave a hilarious toast about Heather's bachelorette party and my fear of dancing. He had a wife of his own, Carla Walters. She's the kind of woman who could make a preacher stammer. Tall, fiery red hair, green eyes that sparkle with hints of danger. Her figure was impossibly toned for a 30-something mother, a real showstopper. And yet, for all that physical perfection, there was something about her that made me uneasy, like a cat eyeing a cornered bird. One Saturday morning, as I was pacing my living room and debating my next move, the doorbell rang. Carla stood there with this weird expression, part fury, part smug satisfaction. She'd barely said hello before stalking into my living room, pointing a manicured finger at my couch as though telling me to sit. So I did. "Bob, don't bother lying to me," she snapped. "I know Heather's screwing my husband." She said it so bluntly I just froze. My head reeled. Wait, she knew? My words sputtered into silence. How did she know? How long had she known? Carla pulled out a small manila envelope and tossed a handful of photos onto my coffee table. Heather and Josh checking into a motel with that sneaky lovebird closeness of two people who think they're being so damn clever. Photo after photo of them leaving said motel, time stamps across the corner of each shot. My chest constricted. "Private investigator," Carla said flatly. "Cost me most of my inheritance from my father, but it was worth it to confirm he's an unfaithful pig." Her tone was dripping with venom, but even so, she was calm, too calm. That was my first real glimpse of Carla's brand of malevolence. A flicker of fear pulsed in me. I realized if Heather and Josh were monsters for cheating, Carla might be an entirely different beast. That's a lot," I mumbled. "Why are you telling me this now?" She squared her shoulders, eyes narrowing. "Because he's about to leave for another business trip with your wife. I thought you deserved the courtesy of knowing, and because," she added, her lips curving into an eerie smile, "I have a plan to make them suffer." It was a bizarre sense of relief that moment, knowing for sure 100% that Heather was messing around with my best friend. I mean, yes, it churned my stomach and set my nerves on fire. But at least I wasn't crazy. The rubber wrapper made sense now, and Carla's evidence was bulletproof. But Carla's demeanor struck me as even more shocking than the news itself. She spoke in a clipped, businesslike way, as if we were discussing the stock market. No tears, no heartbreak. Just pure, steely resolve. "Revenge," she said, tapping one photo with a perfectly manicured nail, "is an art form. You can either go full nuclear or you can plan it right." I eyed her warily. "What do you mean by that?" Carla took a breath, leaning forward until her face was inches from mine. Her perfume was overwhelming, some spicy floral blend that made my head spin. If we want to ruin them, she whispered, we can't just expose them. We have to break them. And I know exactly how to do it. Goosebumps prickled my arms. This was the first big sign that Carla was not merely a wronged spouse looking for justice. She was calculating. She wanted them to burn. A primal part of me understood the impulse, but another part, the rational part, wanted no part in something this twisted. 2 nights later, Carla returned. Heather was working late, or so she claimed, but I knew better. She was likely with Josh in some motel. Carla stood in my living room with a glint in her eye. "Bob," she said in a low voice, "I'm sure you've replayed this betrayal 1,000 times in your head by now. I have, but we need a plan." "What kind of plan?" My gut told me I might not like her answer. Carla exhaled. "Full-on revenge. You said you don't want to be some spineless fool. Well, let's show them what it means to be cheated on." She began pacing. The slit in her black skirt revealed a glimpse of smooth thigh with each stride. "My father used to say, if you're cheated, you break the contract or you demand compensation. Well, I want compensation. And I want them to suffer. My brilliant idea is this. If they're playing us for fools, we do the exact same thing." My skin prickled as I understood her implication. She didn't mince words. "You mean, you and me?" Carla paused, hand on her hip. "Yes, Bob. Consensual adult revenge. Think about it. They cheat with each other. We cheat with each other. We give them a taste of their own rancid medicine. And we keep it hidden so that if they ever suspect, they'll realize how it feels to be in our shoes." The sheer gall of it. I stared at her, half repulsed, half fascinated. There was a certain twisted logic, but it was insane and morally bankrupt. I let out a bitter laugh. "Carla, you're suggesting we become them. Isn't that stooping to their level?" "Stooping?" She barked a laugh. "They're rolling around in the mud, Bob. We're just stepping down to say hello. They forced this on us." I said nothing. My mind flashed to Heather, that bright smile I'd cherished for years, the feeling of her lips on mine, the warmth of her body at night. Anger churned in my stomach. Maybe Carla was right. Maybe we had the right to sink. Carla took my silence for consent. Her eyes lit with triumph. "Excellent," she said, stepping forward until our faces nearly touched. "Then let's get started." I wish I could say the first time Carla and I crossed the line was a moment of romantic agony or moral hesitation. It wasn't. It happened spontaneously in my own kitchen of all places. Heather was away, helping a friend. Carla rang the doorbell. She came inside wearing an obscenely tight top with no bra. I could see her nipples straining through the thin fabric. It was like she wanted me to notice. Maybe she wanted me to feel guilty, or maybe she just wanted me to yearn. She took one look at me and said, "I'm sick of waiting. I want to feel alive again." Her voice was low, almost a purr. "Are you going to turn me away?" I should have, but I didn't, because in that moment all I wanted was revenge. I wanted to bury the image of my wife and best friend in bed together under an avalanche of my own brand of betrayal. So I let Carla slip into my arms. Then my mouth found hers in a collision of fury and desperation. We ended up on the couch. It wasn't tender or sweet. It was raw, charged, and edged with rage. Rage at them, rage at ourselves for letting it come to this. When it was over, Carla smiled, running her fingertips along my chest. "That," she whispered, "is what they deserve to lose." My head spun with conflicting emotions: shame, satisfaction, disgust. But mostly, I felt a fierce, unstoppable need to keep punishing Heather and Josh through secret liaisons with Carla. The logic was twisted, but heartbreak doesn't breed reason. While Carla and I indulged in these clandestine sessions, we also quietly spied on Heather and Josh, gathering logs of phone calls and suspicious receipts. Carla showed me how to tap the home phone line with a cheap recorder from an electronics store. She was terrifyingly resourceful, as if she'd planned entire espionage missions in a previous life. One evening, I pressed play on the hidden recorder in the basement. My blood ran cold as Heather's voice filled the room. "Heather, Josh, I can't get enough of you. How can I sneak away again?" Josh, "Baby, you know I'm always ready. Let's just do lunch again tomorrow. Marriott on Jefferson, room 402. I'll handle the bill, like always." Heather, "I've got some money stashed aside if you need me to." Josh, "Hell no. I'd never make my girl pay, especially since you already make me feel like a king." He chuckled, low and suggestive, and my stomach twisted so badly I thought I'd throw up. Heather let out this mischievous murmur. My hand shook on the stop button. I listened no more. That was enough. Enough to know exactly how cheap they both were. When Carla heard the tape, her lips curved in a bitter smirk. He's lying about paying for the room. He's been draining our joint savings, my inheritance from Dad, for months now. I bet he's telling Heather the same story, that he's paying from his own pocket, so she feels special. He's conned us all. I swallowed hard. So they're brazen. That means they might slip up soon, right? We'll catch them red-handed. Carla nodded, but then gave me a slow, calculating smile. In the meantime, she said, we should double down. Let's do our own motel meetups. Let them wonder why we're so calm. Let them feel the cracks forming under their feet. It continued for weeks, maybe months. It's all a blur of secrets and tension. Carla and I became something unholy, a union forged in bitterness. Strangely, it brought us dangerously close in ways I never expected. One day, out of nowhere, Heather came home looking pale. She sank onto the couch, eyes shining with tears. "Bob," she said in a shaky voice, "I need to tell you something." My heart hammered. Was this the confession? Was she going to beg for forgiveness, maybe blame me for being inattentive? I steeled myself. She sniffled, fiddling with her wedding ring. "I feel guilty," she whispered. I've been stepping out on you." She didn't name Josh, but I knew exactly who it was. My jaw clenched so tightly it hurt, yet I forced a calm expression, letting her talk. "I never wanted to hurt you," she said, voice quavering. "But I got caught up in this obsession. It was thrilling. It was different. I'm so sorry. I've ended it." She reached for my hand, tears falling down her cheeks. "I want us to work through this. I love you, Bob. I was stupid, but it's over now. Please believe me." I stared at her tear-streaked face. Some twisted part of me wanted to pull her close and sob into her hair, confess that I'd been sleeping with Carla, and that we were in the exact same gutter, but my rage overshadowed any pity. "Oh, you're sorry now," I said softly, gently removing my hand from her grip. "Well, that's convenient, Heather. A bit late, but convenient." She sobbed harder. "I know it is, but it's the truth. I was reckless. I rose to my feet. "If you're expecting me to fall over myself in gratitude for your half-baked remorse, forget it. I'm not going to fight you. You do whatever the hell you want." I left her there, trembling on the couch, as I stormed upstairs. Only when I locked the bedroom door did I allow myself to break. Silent tears of betrayal. The memories of Carla's lips on mine twisted inside me. An equal betrayal. Later that evening, I told Carla about Heather's confession. She went rigid. Did she mention who she was cheating with? No, I answered grimly. But I know she's aware that I'm not some clueless fool. I wouldn't be shocked if she tries to angle for pity. Carla laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. Heather's not as clueless as I thought, apparently, but she has no idea what we've been doing. "Yeah, about that," I said, swallowing a lump in my throat. "Don't you think we should stop?" For a second, Carla's eyes flashed with pure fury. "You think I'm done with them? Josh is still lying to me day in and day out, pretending to be a good husband. He hasn't confessed anything. Heather's meltdown changes nothing." I exhaled. "Carla, we're hurting ourselves as much as them." She stepped in close. "Don't tell me it hasn't felt good, Bob. Don't even pretend." Her proximity sparked both desire and dread. Part of me wanted to fling her aside. Part of me wanted to bury myself in that toxic embrace again. "You're insane," I murmured. "And so are you," she whispered, leaning up until her lips brushed my ear. "That's why this works." If there's one event that changed the game entirely, it was the night Carla showed up at my house, bruised and sobbing. Heather was out with the kids, thank God, so I answered the door alone. Carla's hair was disheveled, her mascara running. "He hit me," she spat out as soon as she crossed the threshold. My eyes widened. "Josh? You mean he actually—" She nodded, voice trembling with rage and tears. "He suspected I was cheating on him because I wouldn't let him touch me anymore. He confronted me, we argued, and then he slapped me." Her face crumpled. "I was pregnant, Bob. I didn't even know until the doctor told me I had a miscarriage." My heart almost stopped. "Wait, you mean you just found out you were pregnant and then—" She sank onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. "It would have been yours," she whispered, voice cracking. "Not his." I fell to my knees beside her, a flood of conflicting feelings threatening to drown me. If her story was true, a child conceived in revenge was now lost, violently. I shuddered, not knowing how to respond. Carla's tears gave way to an empty hollowness. She inhaled, wiping her eyes. "I hate him," she said in a voice that was ice cold. I hate Heather for being the reason I had to do all this in the first place. And you. She gazed at me, a twisted half smile curving her lips. I only wanted your child to spite him. That's the truth. I reeled as if slapped. Carla, that's insane. We both. Her eyes shimmered with fresh hatred. Don't pretend you cared. We were using each other. I was using you more. Let's not sugarcoat it. Carla, calm down, I pleaded, reaching for her shoulder. She shrugged me off violently. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. He beat me and caused me to lose a baby. Even if I never planned on raising it in a normal way, it was still my child. I'll see him rot before I let this go. Carla demanded I join her in confronting Heather and Josh together. We'll corner them in the motel, expose everything. Then I'll decide how far I want to go. You said you didn't want to be spineless. This is your chance, Bob. Despite the pit of dread in my stomach, I agreed. Something in me had also reached the boiling point. Heather's confession was half-hearted. She was sorry, but never even told me it was Josh. I was done with the lies. All the lies. Carla found out Josh and Heather had booked a cheap motel near the interstate for a midday rendezvous. She texted me the address, and I took off from work early. I met Carla in the parking lot, and we stormed inside. The scrawny clerk saw our faces and didn't even question us as we marched up the stairs. Carla brandishing a key card she'd swiped from Josh's jacket. Room 210. My pulse thundered with every step. Carla's eyes glowed with a near-psychotic glee that unnerved me. She slid the key into the lock, the light blinked green, and we burst in. Heather was in the middle of pulling her shirt on, while Josh jumped up from the bed, half-dressed, face twisted in panic. What the heck? Heather yelped. Carla's laugh filled the air, sharp as broken glass. Surprise, you cheating scumbags! Josh's eyes widened. Carla, are you nuts? He glanced at me, flushing with guilt or maybe panic. Bob, man, let me explain. But Carla cut him off. Don't even try, she snarled. I know everything, everything. She lifted her chin, her voice trembling with fury. You think you can beat me and get away with it, Josh? Heather's eyes darted between us. Beat you? What are you talking about? Carla jutted her chin at me. Tell them, Bob. I cleared my throat, hands shaking, my voice raw. Josh, you put your hands on Carla? You caused her to... She's lying, Josh barked, face red. I never touched her. Carla let out a harsh scoff. Liar, and you're going to pay for that. Her gaze flicked to Heather. And you, dear, adorable Heather, are you proud of yourself? Sleeping with a guy who punches pregnant women? You're an idiot if you think he truly cares about you. Heather's cheeks blanched. Pregnant? What? Carla leveled a finger at her. Oh, did he not mention that little detail? He cost me my child, Bob's child. Heather froze, her gaze snapping to me in horror. What? You and Carla? I gritted my teeth. Yeah, for months now, just like you and Josh, Heather. For a split second, the room went so silent, you could hear the hum of the air conditioner. Heather's face collapsed into anguish. Bob, how could you? My fury boiled over. Don't you dare act betrayed. You ripped us apart first. You and this bastard. Josh tried to step between us, hands raised. Everybody just calm down. He looked at Carla, desperation in his eyes. Baby, you know me. I'd never hit you. I've never laid a hand on a woman. Carla snarled. Call me baby again. I'll break your jaw. You know what you did? Stop lying before I... Suddenly, she lunged for him, nails raking across his cheek. I surged forward, catching her wrists, but she was wild, hissing through clenched teeth, tears streaming. Josh clutched his face, cursing loudly. Heather stared at us all like we were insane. Then she snapped, Stop! We're making a scene! Carla whirled on her, eyes blazing. Oh, I'm sorry! Are we disturbing your cozy little love nest? I held Carla back, my body trembling with adrenaline. She was definitely on the edge. I kept expecting the cops to bust in any second. Josh, panting, eyes full of panic, said, I don't know where this beating story comes from, but it's a crock of... Shut up, Carla hissed. You're going to pay for it, one way or another. In the midst of this chaos, Heather suddenly turned pale, swaying on her feet. Josh steadied her by the arm, but she jerked away. Her eyes bored into mine. Bob, she whispered. There's something else. Her trembling lips parted. I'm pregnant too, and I don't know whose it is. My stomach dropped. Carla stiffened in my grasp. What do you mean you don't know whose it is? I roared. You cheated on me with him, so how could it possibly be mine? Heather's cheeks flamed. Because you and I, we weren't always careful. Remember that night a couple months ago, after I'd supposedly ended things with Josh, Josh spoke up, voice shaking. Wait a minute. You said you ended it with me. You obviously didn't if you're still messing around. Heather rounded on him, eyes ablaze. I said I was done with you, but you guilt-tripped me and I was too weak to resist. It was never about love, you jackass. It was about some insane thrill I regret the moment I step out of this damn room. Carla let out a short, bitter laugh. So, let me get this straight, Heather. You ended it, but not really, and now you're pregnant with God knows whose child? She turned a mocking glare on me. Congrats, Bob. You might be raising Josh's spawn, or it might be yours, or maybe some other jerk in a bar somewhere for all we know. Heather's eyes flashed. Shut up, Carla. You have no idea what... Carla's lip curled. I know enough. I know you and Josh deserve each other in hell, and I know Bob's too gullible to see what a snake you really are. Don't drag me into... I began, but Carla spun around, jabbing me in the chest with her finger. You're no victim, Bob. You joined me in bed, remember? Or on your couch? Or on that cheap motel room on the south side of town. You loved it. Heather's face twisted in disgust. You two are pigs, both of you. Rage flared hot in my veins. You want to talk about pigs, Heather? You were hooking up with my best friend for over a year, and you have the gall to call us pigs? Josh pressed his palms to his temples, letting out a strangled groan. Everyone shut up, his voice thundered through the cramped room. Look, I didn't lay a finger on Carla. She's lying about me beating her. And yeah, I was sleeping with Heather, big whoop. She wanted it as much as I did. Now we're all even, or whatever, so can we just... Carla tore away from me and slapped him, the sound echoing like a gunshot. That was for calling my miscarriage a big whoop. You piece of filth. Josh's face contorted with sudden rage. For a terrifying moment, I thought he'd hit her back. Instead, he stormed over to the corner of the room, pacing, fists clenched. And then, the final shock of the day. Carla reached into her purse and pulled out a small silver handgun. My blood turned to ice. Carla! I shouted, stepping forward. What are you? She took a step back, pointing it straight at Josh. Her eyes were wild. I won't kill you, she hissed. But I swear to God, I'll put a bullet in your leg if you come near me again. Heather gasped, hands flying to her mouth. Josh raised both arms, stepping back. Jesus Christ, Carla, are you insane? My mind spiraled. This had gone from ugly to downright life-threatening in seconds. I tried to reason with Carla, voice trembling. Carla, put that down. We can handle this without... Shut up, she snarled. I'm so done with all of you. My baby is gone. I have nothing left to lose. Tears streaked her cheeks, but her gun hand stayed rock steady. Josh, I want you to get on your knees and apologize. Now. He hesitated, glaring at the muzzle of the gun. I half expected him to lunge for it, but the look in her eyes must have told him she was serious. Slowly, he sank to his knees. I'm sorry, he choked out, voice dripping with terror and loathing. Carla, you know I'd never... She cut him off with a laugh that splintered into a sob. You'll say anything now, right? Her gaze shifted to Heather. You too. Down. Heather stared at her, mouth open. You can't be serious. Carla cocked the gun, the click ringing like a promise of doom. I said down, bitch! Heather's legs gave out. She sank to her knees next to Josh, eyes terrified. Carla, please! Shut up, Carla said, tears streaming as she pressed the barrel to Josh's temple. God, I hate you. I hate both of you. She glanced at me, eyes blazing with resentment. You too, Bob. All men are filth. You used me just as much as I used you. I took a cautious step forward, arms raised. Carla, you know that's not true, I whispered. We were both messed up, but it wasn't about using. It was about hurting them. Remember? Her lips trembled. I lost everything in the process, she whispered, voice raw. Don't you get it? My money, my dignity, my unborn child. My heart pounded. She was on the verge of something irreversible. Carla, put it down, I pleaded. Look at me. Her gaze locked on mine, flickering between rage and despair. For an eternity, we stayed locked in that moment, the gun shaking in her grip. Then abruptly, Carla sucked in a breath. Get out of my sight, she hissed, stepping back. All of you, get up, get out, leave me the hell alone. Her voice broke on a sob. We scrambled to comply. Heather and Josh shot to their feet, stumbling for the door. I tried to remain calm, wanting to get the gun away from her, but Carla turned the barrel on me, eyes shining with fresh tears. I said leave, she repeated in a low, trembling voice. Carla, I whispered, not wanting to abandon her in that mental state, but the madness in her gaze told me to run. Heather tugged on my sleeve, practically dragging me out. We fled into the hallway, slamming the door behind us. My breath hitched, mind reeling. A second later, a muffled scream tore through the door. We froze, hearts pounding, waiting for the gunshot that never came. Down in the motel parking lot, no one spoke. We just stood under the glaring sun, the four of us in a standoff of guilt and hatred. Heather had tears streaking her face. Josh looked ready to explode with some vile insult. My own limbs shook from adrenaline. Heather broke the silence first. "I'm pregnant, and I don't know which of you is the father," she hissed, turning to me. "But if it's yours, Bob, maybe we can still fix this. Even if we have to." I cut her off, voice low. "Fix this? It's beyond broken, Heather. You think a baby can patch up the carnage?" She let out a sob. "Fine, then let me be. Hate me forever if you want. I deserve it." Josh raked a hand through his hair, snorting angrily. "Don't be dramatic, Bob. We're all messed up here." I whirled on him, rage flaring. "Dramatic? I spent months listening to you call my wife baby while you snuck around behind my back. I let you into my house. You gave a toast at my damn wedding." My voice cracked. "I hope you rot for what you did to our friendship." He sneered. "Friendship? Real friends don't stoop to screwing each other's wives as payback," I snapped. My fist shot out before I could even think. The punch connected with his jaw, sending him staggering back. He let out a choked sound, then lurched forward to retaliate. We clashed in a flurry of fists, raw hatred driving each blow. Heather screamed, trying to pull us apart. We tumbled to the ground. Josh managed to get on top, landing a solid hit to my rib cage, driving the breath from my lungs. Pain tore through my side, but the adrenaline spurred me on and I twisted, reversing our positions, smashing his head against the pavement. "Stop!" Heather shrieked, tears streaming down her face. "He'll kill you, Josh! Stop!" Dazed, Josh went limp beneath me. I stared down at his bloodied face. My knuckles throbbed, but I wanted to keep hitting him, keep punishing him for every betrayal. Then an image of Carla and her gun flickered in my mind, and I realized how close we all were to crossing lines we could never uncross. I stumbled off him, panting. He rolled onto his side, spitting blood. Heather sobbed, leaning over him. The savage triumph inside me quickly cooled into a hollow ache. We glared at each other. The realization settled in that we were all wading hip-deep in the wreckage of our own making. A tense, suffocating silence enveloped us. None of us knew what to say. I finally bent over, hands on my knees, catching my breath. My side screamed in pain, but the emotional agony was worse. Josh lay there, pushing Heather away. "Don't touch me," he snapped, wiping blood from his mouth. "I'm fine." Heather stood, shaking violently. We avoided each other's eyes, all of us ignoring the stares from a couple of passers-by who'd gathered a safe distance away. In that moment, I wondered what would happen if Carla came storming out with her gun again. But she didn't appear. Maybe she was upstairs having a breakdown. Maybe she was staring at the bullet in the chamber, deciding whether to put it in her own head or come after us. The thought sent a chill through me. Finally, Heather cleared her throat. "We can't just leave Carla like that," she said tremulously. "She might hurt herself." Josh grimaced, face bruised. "She's beyond help. She's lost her mind." I shook my head, voice hoarse. "We have to do something. Maybe call an ambulance or the cops." Heather's lips parted. What if she tells them about all this? The cheating, the fight, the baby? I cut her off with a savage look. "Still worried about your own ass, Heather? She had a gun to your boyfriend's head. She lost a child. We can't let her go down alone." We eventually made a decision. Maybe the only decent one left in that whole mess. Call the police. I dialed the number, reported that a woman in room 210 was trying to end herself, armed, and needed immediate assistance. Then I hung up, chest tight, not knowing if I just signed Carla's death warrant or saved her life. Heather stood off to the side, trembling, arms wrapped around herself. I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. The betrayal was too raw. Josh stared at the motel sign, refusing to meet my eyes. The tension was suffocating. Sirens wailed. Police cruisers screeched to a stop. Officers sprinted inside. Moments later, Carla emerged in handcuffs, her head bowed. The rage was gone. She looked small, broken, tear-streaked, murmuring words I couldn't hear. They led her to a squad car. She didn't fight, didn't look up. Guilt twisted in my gut. I wanted to say I was sorry for everything, but I stayed frozen. An ambulance arrived, likely for a psychiatric evaluation. Lights, sirens, the weight of our collective sins blurred together. A cop approached, asking about Carla Walters. Heather answered through tears. Josh stayed silent. When my turn came, I muttered half-truths. Her emotional state, our fear for her safety. Nothing about the cheating, not out of mercy, but shame. The cop nodded. We'll need statements later. For now, go home. And just like that, it was over. No arrests for the gun, no real consequences. Carla, ironically the biggest victim, was the one taken away. I turned to Heather, who looked at me with pleading eyes. Please, Bob, she whispered. We can't leave like this. My voice turned cold. What do you suggest we do? Hug it out in front of the cops? She sobbed. Josh wiped blood from his lip, silent. We stood there watching Carla disappear in the back of a squad car, suffocating in the wreckage of our choices. My fists clenched. I wanted to scream at Heather, to demand why she lied, but there was nothing left to say. Josh muttered, We'll talk more later when we're not surrounded by cops. But I had no words for him. My hatred had burned out, leaving only emptiness. Heather reached for me. I pulled away. You're pregnant. You don't know whose child it is. Carla's either in jail or a psych ward. I just beat the hell out of my former best friend who's been screwing my wife for a year. That about sums it up. Her shoulders shook. Josh glared at me, his face swollen. No one spoke. We all knew this was beyond repair. The squad car's siren faded. The motel's neon sign flickered like a dying heartbeat. No forgiveness, no closure, just a pit of unanswered questions and a vortex of raw pain. Without a word, we turned and walked away into the twilight, 3 shattered souls lost in the ruins we created.